Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Li Cai. Thank you for joining us. Coming up on the show today, at the Buddha Day ceremony in Suzhou, China, Tzu Chi Scholarship recipients make a special trip to offer their respect and gratitude. Nursing is not a gender-exclusive job. More and more men are expressing great interest in becoming primary caretakers. And later in our regular feature on Taiwan's traditional industries, we introduce to you a craftsman who specializes in making headgears for Chinese god statues. First up in the show, since 1996, Tzu Chi volunteers in Jiangxi, China, have been working to support students from poor families with school subsidies and scholarships. Many of these underprivileged youngsters have grown up and started their own families. At the recent Buddha Day ceremony in Suzhou, 2 of these former scholarship recipients were in attendance, bringing with them a heart of thanks for their mother's love, as well as the Tzu Chi Foundation that helped them in the past. At Suzhou's Jingsi Books and Cafe, over 1,800 volunteers and members of the public gathered to share in the Dharma joy as they reverently give thanks to the Buddha. Among the participants is Huang Gen, a native of Jiangxi and a former Tzu Chi Scholarship recipient. After graduating from college, Huang Gen moved to Suzhou to find work and raise a family. When he heard Tzu Chi was having its annual Buddha Day ceremony in the city, he knew it was a chance not to be missed.
I was moved to see so many people, old, young, male and female, coming to participate in this event. It is obvious that this ceremony carries a deep meaning for everyone here. It is a way of spreading an important message and their deep belief.
Remembering his poor childhood, Huang Gen feels nothing but the utmost thanks for the help extended by Tzu Chi. He jokes, saying that Tzu Chi not only helped him graduate, but also find his better half.
If not for the help of Tzu Chi, I would never have had the chance to meet my future wife. And that feeling of being in a relationship in college probably would have never happened, and there would have been no marriage.
Another former scholarship recipient here is Zhong Gang. An orphan, it was entirely thanks to Tzu Chi that he was able to graduate from school. On this Mother's Day, Zhong Gang is taking the chance to pray for the mother he never knew.
I hope that my prayer of finding my mother one day can be heard by the Buddha.
For both of these scholarship recipients, they hope that their prayers for the world-honored one will one day be answered. Next year, the Buddha Day ceremony in Suzhou will be moved from the local Jingsi Books and Cafe to the new Tzu Chi grounds, giving organizers more space to bring the Dharma to even more people. We now go back in time to take a look at how the Buddha Day celebrations have evolved in Suzhou, beginning in 2006.
2006 marked Tzu Chi's first ever Buddha Day ceremony in Suzhou. The courtyard fountain served as the Buddha altar.
The building was originally a dome for a high school, so there were many areas that were rather inconvenient. We used the pool in the courtyard, and there we put the Buddha altar.
Although facilities were rudimentary, it did not detract from the joy of participants, and volunteers from all over China's east coast came to help. Volunteer Cai Congji, who took these pictures, still remembers how things were in the beginning.
In the beginning, we didn't have a lot of volunteers here, so volunteers from Kunshan, Shanghai and Nanjing came to help out.
As the years passed, the scale of the ceremony grew. Volunteer Hu Cai-an, who has been there from the beginning, has high hopes for the future with the near completion of the new Tzu Chi grounds.
We think that the number of participants next year will be several times that of this year. The new location is both stately and spacious. Next year, there will be more bodhisattvas attending for sure. Volunteers and members of the public from all over the East Coast will attend. We estimate numbers in the range of 10,000.
This year is the last time that the ceremony will be held at the Jingsi Books and Cafe. However, the precedent that has been set over the past 6 years will remain front and center as the ceremony gets ready to move to its new location.
For many, to be able to take part in Tzu Chi's Buddha Day ceremony and pay homage to the Buddha is simply something they must do. In Malacca, Malaysia, a senior wanted to join the ceremony but missed the events by taking the wrong bus. Fortunately, volunteers were there to help the senior fulfill her wish. At least it was not in vain.
Zhong Chunyin is full of smiles now that she has paid homage to the Buddha at Tzu Chi's Buddha Day ceremony in Malacca. The day did not begin so well for the 70-year-old senior, who left home early, hoping to arrive at the 2 p.m. event on time. Unfortunately, she took the wrong bus and did not arrive until 4 p.m.
The bus doesn't come by often, so I took a taxi to catch a bus, which cost me $3. That wasn't so bad for catching a bus.
By then, the ceremony has already ended, and the venue has been all cleaned up. However, not wanting to disappoint the senior, volunteers set up everything again.
I've been a vegetarian for the past 2 days. Normally, we do eat meat, but because of Buddha Day, I've been a vegetarian. Though I didn't see the grand event, at least I fulfilled my wish.
The ceremony was attended by some 6,000 people. Though Grandma Zhong was the last participant, she is just as reverent and devoted as the rest.
At least it was not in vain. In Taiwan, nursing programs are available at technical colleges, universities, and career schools. In the past, these schools only accepted female candidates to their programs. However, as times have changed, more and more male candidates are being accepted. Here is our report. Tying down a tourniquet before inserting a needle, this is an introductory nursing class in Taiwan. Of the 52 students in attendance, only a few are male.
The instructor is still very thorough. She doesn't treat us any different from the girls.
Breaking the stereotype that men are careless and mindless, more and more of Taiwan's various educational institutions are opening up their nursing programs to men. Though some may have signed up accidentally, in the end, they discover becoming a nurse is not so bad after all.
As I began my internship and came into contact with patients, I discovered that I'm actually quite interested in this work and have since been pretty happy.
Male nurses undergo the exact same training as their female counterparts, and their physical attributes give them a certain advantage.
There are quite a few male head nurses, and tasks that demand more physical strength can be easily handled by men.
Any kind of profession should be open to receive all kinds of people. If there are more males interested in taking up nursing, I will welcome the idea.
Overall, male nurses are still rare in Taiwan, but with a shortage of nurses and high unemployment rates in the country, we're bound to see more of them in the future. We meet Song Rangxuan from Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital, who is the only male nurse at the surgical ICU. Song has been in the profession for more than 6 years and has proven to be just as attentive and caring as his female counterparts, if not more. 71-year-old Mr. Chen has been recuperating in the ICU of Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital for more than a month after his cardiac surgery. Nurse Song Rangxuan gives him some recuperating tips.
Your heart problem gives you edema. You need to exercise your arms and legs more.
If he didn't say anything, we would have mistaken him as a doctor. He's very careful and attentive and very friendly to patients, just like family.
Beneath Song Rangxuan's stocky build is a gentle and sensitive heart. When he is done with performing back percussions on his patients, he usually lends a hand to his co-workers.
He is very thoughtful and isn't all brown. He has a very gentle and caring side.
Men are commonly perceived as less mindful and attentive than girls. However, we receive the same training as female nurses. Hidden beneath our exterior, sometimes men can be even more caring than women.
In the eyes of his colleagues and patients, Song is a dedicated caretaker. He believes that all nurses are angels, whatever their gender. In the second part of the Power of Love series from Japan, we travel to Tokyo to meet volunteer couple Liao Jingqi and Zhang Laihao, who are both Taiwanese living and working in the city. The two met in Tzu and have been devoting themselves selflessly to service work, especially after the March 11th triple disaster. Let's take a look.
Zhang Laihao joins Tzu volunteers after work and get on the subway train in Tokyo. At the end of the day, some commuters are napping on the train, while some are playing with their phones. Instead, the 63-year-old dishwasher enjoys the view outside.
I forget all the pain when I do volunteer work.
Arriving at the restaurant, Zhang waits for her husband to get off work before taking on Tzu volunteer work together in spite of her cancer.
I had a mole this size and it was itchy. The test results said it's malignant.
A cancer patient who also suffers from high blood pressure, Zhang entrusts her health to doctor and her heart to Tzu. Her husband, Liao Jingqi, works as a chef. When he heard that volunteers are waiting for him, he quickens his pace.
I start work at 9 in the morning and get off at around 10 in the evening.
After the restaurant is closed, Liao and wife change into Tzu's blue and white uniform to visit the homeless people in the city's underpasses.
Good evening, a rice bowl for you. Are you cold?
They do not disturb those who are already asleep and instead leave a rice ball with a little note.
We are the Tzu Foundation from Taiwan. Please enjoy the rice ball.
How are the rice balls made? Turning back the clock to 11 o'clock the previous night, Liao has just arrived at the Tokyo Tzu office after a long day.
The subway is not in service before 5 in the morning. So if I need to start work before then, I have to stay at the office the night before.
At 5 in the morning, the couple leaves the dorms and heads for the kitchen.
How many rice balls are we making today? More than 1,000? 1,100 rice balls? We need to hurry.
It is time-consuming to prepare for more than 1,000 rice balls. The couple work together to add 100 kilograms of water to the 50 kilogram instant rice. Mushrooms and corns are then added to the big wok so they could start stir-frying. The couple did not know each other before joining Tzu in Japan. They each had an unhappy marriage and are both Taiwanese living in Japan.
We are getting old. It's good that we can look after each other.
We slowly learn to understand each other after these years.
The couple from Tokyo offered help to the victims in the northeast coast and returned to make more contributions in Tokyo. Their hearts were joined by the love and compassion of Tzu.
We bring you more reports on Buddha Day, this time from Ottawa, Mississauga, and Richmond in Canada, where people of different cultural backgrounds came together for the annual celebration.
Tzu volunteers held a total of 6 Buddha Day ceremonies in Richmond, Canada. One of the ceremonies took place in front of the local food bank and was joined by its staff and beneficiaries. To set up the venue, volunteers have to start by putting up the tent. For many residents in this community, this is their first time seeing Tzu's Buddha Day ceremony. Before getting their supplies from the food bank, many participate in the Buddha ceremony. Another Buddha Day ceremony takes place at the local Tzu Chi Academy. For many children, this is a great opportunity to come closer to the Buddha's teaching. To mark the Tzu Chi Tri-celebration, volunteers and teachers make sure that the recent classes are all related to Mother's Day in some way. Behind the success of the 6 Buddha Day ceremonies is a group of mothers who prepare 1,200 carnations for the celebrations. Meanwhile, on the east coast of Canada, the Tzu Chi Academy in Mississauga also held a Buddha Day celebration along with a Mother's Day event. Students respectfully offer a cup of tea and handmade carnations to their mothers. To make their parents happy, students sing, give massages to their parents, and even feed fruits to their mom and dad. Along with celebrating Mother's Day, Tzu Chi volunteers also set up an altar for Buddha Day. Through volunteers' explanation, the students gain a better understanding of Buddha Day and learn to be even more filial to their parents. Meanwhile, the liaison office in Ottawa, Tzu Chi volunteers also took the chance to celebrate the Buddha Day. Along with Dharma masters, the local Chinese community also joins in. On Tzu Chi's Buddha Day, everyone sincerely prayed together for peace and harmony throughout the world.
At Taipei's main Buddha Day celebration, the CK's Memorial Hall in Taiwan, 11th grader Li Jiahua could be found among the crowd, taking part on behalf of her mother, who was a polio sufferer with limited mobility. We find out what brought the mother and daughter pair into Tzu Chi.
I told my daughter that I couldn't take part in the musical adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra, so she said she would go for me.
Chen Jing suffers from polio. Her daughter, Jiahua, now in 11th grade, took part on her behalf in last year's Tzu Chi year-end blessing ceremony.
My mom is all I've got, so I want to give her all the love I can.
Tzu Chi volunteer began visiting Jiahua 2 years ago to help her and her mom through the loss of her father. The girl's devotion to her mother deeply impressed the caregivers.
She doesn't say it, but she tells me how much she loves me through her action.
Showing her affection like a child, Jiahua never hesitates to help her mom with the cooking at home. This year, once again, she can be seen among the participants at Tzu Chi's Buddha Day ceremony, praying earnestly for peace on earth. Go to any temple in Taiwan and you'll notice that many of the gods' statues come with headgears such as a hat or a crown. In today's report on the island's traditional trades, we meet 74-year-old Lin Qifeng, who was a master making these unique headdresses. His 2 sons have followed in his footsteps and have also gone on to become great craftsmen in their own rights.
Forged under extremely high temperatures before dipping the piece of silver into cold water, this master demonstrates how to make a crown for the gods. Here inside the temple, the hats on each of the gods are handmade in pure silver. After a long period of time, the crowns have lost its radiance and are covered with a layer of incense ashes. However, looking closer, one can still see the delicate work of the craftsman. Every hat the gods wear is made by the hands of 74-year-old Lin Qifeng, who has been a crown maker for over 40 years. The hat worn by Ma Zhu was made by Lin some 20 years ago.
At that time, we passed it on to our sons. I do the research myself. For example, if I want to make a crown for an ancestor and we don't know what it should look like, we go to their temple to check it out. A crown for Emperor Guan, I will go to his temple. And for Ma Zhu, I visit a Ma Zhu temple.
from one temple to another, Ling Qifeng always goes above and beyond to research and design his products.
Making gold jewelry is different than making a crown for gods. Sometimes you have to be creative and work through the night with no sleep.
With a pencil in hand and in just 5 minutes, Ling draws a flying dragon in his notebook, a basic skill required for his industry. But to make a perfect crown, there's much more to learn.
I spent nearly 6 months to learn this. After folding it for half a year, it can finally be used to make crowns. I have calluses on my hands here and there. When I first started in this industry, I would get cuts all over my hands, but now I don't get them anymore.
Hands full of calluses are something the father and his sons have in common after spending so much time cutting and trimming pieces of silver.
We make parts of the body or the head with this. If you look at it for too long, your eyes will get sore. We can only make a piece of this each day.
Sticking wires of only 2 mm diameter in length together is no easy task, and a break is always needed to give the craftsman's eyes some rest. Yet this is only the preparation work.
We have used this for over a decade. Yes, we use it on a daily basis.
The lines on the mold are used to make parts for the crowns. On every craftsman's mind is how to tailor each design to suit their customer's needs.
We need to find out the proper taoist etiquette and the crown or equipment they need. We need to get an idea of that first, so that we can understand what our customers want. There's enough time for me in a day to do everything that needs to be done.
Sitting down for over 12 hours, putting up with high temperatures when melting silver, sticking threads together, and communicating with their customers, these crown-making masters have a long list of things to do each day.
I'm getting old now and passing the skills on to my son. When he is famous one day, he will tell others who his master was. Even if I'm not around then, I will still feel proud.
Ling Qifeng passes on whatever knowledge and skills he has to his sons, and the two brothers not only work to turn each design into a piece of art, but also work with schools to give students an opportunity to learn more about crown making. The Ling family hopes that the fading industry will not be lost in a generation.
We go back to Canada at the end of the show for the Tzu Chi Buddha Day ceremony in Toronto, where a fun fair was also held to promote stronger parent-child relationships as well as environmentalism. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.